Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have with me in the studio Mr. Greg Aiyemo. You're welcome once again to the studio.
Thank you.
I remember the last time you were here, we were discussing at your 80th birthday.
That's right.
And that's already more than 2 years ago.
Yes.
Mr. Aiyemo is 82 years old and still going very strong. He has been Administrative Secretary at the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria and Administrative Secretary at the Lux Terra Leadership Foundation, and as well as Catechist of Lux Terra Chaplaincy. Congratulations, sir, and welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Father.
I have brought you to the studio today because we want to discuss elderhood. And I don't think there's anyone more qualified than you around to discuss about elders, to discuss elderhood. I would want to begin by asking, what is elderhood and who are elders? So, what is elderhood?
Well, elderhood is a state, a function.
Elderhood is a function.
Yes, a function of the person.
Okay.
It is not about age, really.
Okay.
Not
because
so much
because
about
there
age.
are many aged people.
Yes, who cannot be classified as elders.
Oh, so many aged people around, but some of them cannot be classified
as elders.
Wow.
Because elderhood connotes some qualities in the person.
Qualities. So elderhood indicates certain qualities.
Yes.
And that there are aged people who are
who do not
qualify to be called
elders.
Now, that's the beginning. So tell us, what qualities make an aged person an elder?
Well, the aged person who should be termed an elder,
yes,
displays some elements of maturity.
Maturity, yes.
Wisdom. And willingness to be there for those generations behind.
The willingness to be there for people coming behind him.
Yes.
To be a trailblazer for them.
That's right. That's what the elder is. A true elder who in whose group you might say they belong to elderhood.
I see. So we do have people who are 70, 80, 90-year-olds, and you are saying not all of them are elders. They are aged.
Yes. Because if they do not have the disposition to guide the young ones coming behind, then they do not qualify to be classified into the bracket of elderhood. But if they have the disposition to be trailblazers for those coming behind, to guide,
yes,
to lead,
yes,
to advise,
so
to caution, to cajole, they must be ready to pass on these values.
What kind of values? I mean, you talk about elders advising, guiding,
yes,
cajoling,
sometimes chastising.
Yes. Good. These are the functions of the elder.
Yes.
And you then mention values.
Yes.
What kind of values are you talking about that the aged person now guides the younger people to follow?
Well, in the basic society, you'll be talking of respect.
Respect.
You'll be talking of goodness of the person.
Okay. Character.
Mm-hmm. And those elements that...
Like discipline?
Discipline.
Yes.
Those are the elements that the elder over years
has personified. So what about, let's list some more of those values. What about in a society like our own, honesty and integrity?
Integrity. I mean, these are the values that as they disappear, society begins to more or less,
Collapse.
as it were, collapse.
Let's name them again. Respect. Goodness. Kindness. Discipline.
Honesty.
Deferred gratification.
That's right.
Integrity. And as these qualities disappear from society, what did you say society becomes?
They begin to collapse.
Society begins to collapse. Wow. So, the aged person, as you are saying, you are making a distinction between the aged person and the elder. So, the aged person that qualifies to be called elder encapsulates
these values.
Mm-hmm.
And is able to portray these values to the younger ones.
And then you had said guide.
Yes, guide.
Caution. Urge. Then you say sometimes chastise.
Yes. And the elder will insist, because over time the elder knows why certain
things don't work.
Yes, that's right. And will guide the young ones. Say, no, this you have to do it this way.
So the elder has one of the responsibilities of the elder is to insist.
To insist.
I like the word.
There are times to insist that things must be done in a certain way.
Because of the elder's own experience.
Yes.
If you do not change your course.
Experience gathered over decades.
Yes. And through the elder's own successes and failures, right?
That's right. I mean, the aggregate of all of that makes the elder person, that defines the experience of the elder.
And talking about this, to digress for a while, in recent time we have been talking about the need to write for your biography to be written.
Yes.
So whether they were your mistakes or your successes or your failures or whatever, for you to put some of these things down, or for somebody to put it down, so that the younger people can learn.
That's right.
Because none of our stories should just go down the drain, isn't it?
That is true. The ordinary person, village person, has a story to tell.
Yes.
A story that could be profound for the young person listening.
And each person's story is unique. No two people's stories are the same.
The same experience.
Even when you grew up in the same house.
That's right.
Now, let's get back to the issue of who an elder is. That age alone does not confer the status of
elderhood. No.
That it is a function. To what extent is that function of the elder? To what extent does society, the survival of the society, depend on it?
Well, over time, it appears that we are living in times when these attributes of the elder have become suppressed by other values. And because of that, the young ones are not able to appreciate what the goodness of life should be, because there are other values that overwhelm them. The elder is someone who has experienced life to a certain level at various stages, and has seen the good part, the pitfalls, and is ready to pass it on.
So he has seen the high points and the pitfalls of life.
That's right.
And is able to guide the young people
That's right.
I attempted to take this way, but it didn't end well. So don't go that way.
Don't go that way.
See the way I took, and it turned out well for me.
That's right.
So if you take this kind of way, deferred gratification, for example, right?
That's right. The fact that the young person naturally wants to make it now.
Quick.
That's his urge. That the natural instinct is to say, oh, I'll get it now. But the elder, from experience, knows that it is better to wait.
That things take a process.
A process. It is better to wait, to follow a process, so that at the end, you get the joy of the result, rather than insisting that I must get it now.
In recent times, I have been engaged in discussions and talks and public presentations on this whole thing about elderhood and how we seem to be experiencing a naked public square. I'm sure you remember the village,
yes,
where there was a village square,
yes,
where people went and got wisdom.
That's right.
They had proverbs.
That's right.
Cases were settled.
That's right.
Wise sayings came out of that public square.
That's right.
And today, it appears that the public square of our society is naked, is denuded, is empty.
It's empty.
What happened? What has happened to us?
Well, I don't know where to place the blame exactly. But the older people today seem to be overwhelmed by modern...
The razzmatazz of modern life.
That's it. So, with their baggage of knowledge and experience, they are watching, apparently helplessly, the young ones going astray.
Befuddled,
yes, and following characters that don't qualify as good for society.
Characters that are leading them astray.
Astray. Characters that come with values that the younger person sees as the only way to belong, to get there. So the older people have lost it, as it were.
Yeah, when you talk of the older people, people of your generation, a little older, a little younger, it seems as if your generation and my generation, it seems as if we are failing society, failing the younger people because we have given up too quickly. Amidst the technology, this fast pace of life, it looks as if we just withdrew.
Yes, it's unfortunate because older people who should have the values that matter, and they know it, they know these values, they try to live by them, but the environment and the atmosphere does not empower them to pass on these values and for these values to be accepted by the young ones.
When you talk about the older people who have these values, some people will object and say that a lot of those who put us in the mess we are in today, they are in their 80s.
Yes.
They are in their 80s. Those who came in military rule in 1966,
that's right,
and the ones among them that are surviving, that are alive, they are in their 80s.
That's right.
And then the politicians that came in 1979, and those who came in 1999, many of them are in their 70s or 80s.
70s and 80s.
And they put us in the mess we're in. What do you have to say about that?
Well, it appears as if we lost it with the advent of the military.
With the advent of the military?
Yes.
We lost the concept of elderhood.
Of elderhood. Before the military, the elder person commands some level of respect and admiration because of the quality of life that was there at the time. People were not gunning for inordinate wealth as we have it today. And people in leadership positions were truly trying to deliver.
By the way, talking about people in leadership positions who are trying to deliver, in the 1960s, when you just started work, you worked at the Northern Nigerian
Audit department.
In Kaduna.
Yes, that's right.
And I remember you told me that you even handled some papers of the Sardauna,
Yes,
the Premier of
right.
Northern Nigeria.
That's
by then,
right.
his
voucher, his payment voucher,
his payment voucher,
salary voucher
that you were handing.
Yes.
What did you see at that time for you to conclude that leaders were concerned about the people?
Quite honestly, the flamboyance that ultimately became the order of the day was not there.
Where we had the excessive guys like Faje Miroku, I mean, what was his name? The guy from Benin who was so flamboyant. Okotiebo.
That's right.
Okotiebo, that was so flamboyant, his dress was going a mile away. But that was not the order of the day.
No, it wasn't. And I don't. We had ministers that were trying to deliver. If you are a minister of works, you are making sure that roads are repaired, some roads being built. But tell me today.
So you didn't have the flamboyance of 50 cars following a governor?
No.
The premier of the entire Northern Nigeria?
Yes, I mean, that is it. I am saying, like I say, at that time, when I consider what figures are bandied around today in terms of earnings, I just wonder. Those vouchers I used to vet those days, his salary was 1,000 pounds.
The Premier of Northern Nigeria?
1,000 pounds.
1,000 pounds.
Of Northern Nigeria. That was it. Finish.
And there was
you didn't have the level of corruption that we see today. Nothing like it.
Nothing like it. Then the military said that everybody was corrupt. They came in
They came in. The corruption the military complained about in those days was an issue of, what did they say?
10%.
10%. That is contracts. Mm-hmm. If contracts are inflated by 10%, I don't know what we are faced with today.
No, we have a situation today where the contract is actually not done at all, but the entire money goes.
That's right. So that's where it is. The military came in, and of course, also the fact that we could not manage our affairs,
including
manage the wealth that we were endowed with. We couldn't
abundant wealth.
We couldn't manage it. If we could, we wouldn't be where we are today. Just because gradually money began to take the place of God, as it were.
Money became king.
Became king.
What do you think about people who are still alive, but who were part of the gradual degeneration of the Nigerian society? Don't you think that they owe us, the old Nigerian, present and future generation of Nigerian, apology for whatever part they played in the Nigerian ruination?
I do not know if apology is really what they owe.
Oh, they much more than that.
Much more than apology. Well, I'm sorry that I didn't manage things well. Now, the country, I mean, those who are living today and who now see
what has become.
What has become of the land. I wonder if they can ever with a smile on their faces.
Well, some of them are still, those that are able to run around are still running around and wanting to be of contention in Nigerian politics.
Yes, and continue the ruination. It is obviously the country is in ruins. When we really think of it.
So, you say apology is not enough.
It's hardly enough.
But definitely, when the history of our country is being written objectively, there shouldn't be very good words for many of those people.
No, definitely not. And it's not as if they don't know, they know. But it is a country where people worship not good values. Worship those that can bend the rules. Unfortunately, bending the rules has ruined the lives of majority of people.
Oh yeah. I mean, the fact that 60-70% of Nigerians are living below poverty line, are destitute, and I'm saying, how will people who had served as senior directors in government,
that's right,
as governors, as senior managers, as heads of state, how will they feel each time they look at what has become of Nigeria compared to what has become of Malaysia, of Singapore?
Yeah, where
do they really think? Do they congratulate themselves?
I wonder how they can. When they ask themselves, okay, what impact have I made? What change have I brought? Long-term change.
Each time I meet any of those leaders, and I hear them complaining about the Nigerian situation, I just shake my head. You hardly find situations where they come up and admit that sorry, I made terrible mistakes.
We shouldn't be here. We ought not to be here. Well, it has happened, and now I'm just lamenting and wondering what can be done to arrest
the slide
that we are in. To arrest it first of all, before we can now think of how to build up, to grow.
So, once again, to wrap up this segment of the program, we have been discussing about elderhood and how just having the age is not the same as being an elder. The elderhood is a function. Elderhood commands respect. But also they say the elder is respectable.
It's respectable.
So it's,
when it's respectable,
it then commands
respect. And because he commands respect, he has earned it.
He has earned it. So you belong to the elder group, elder club. Are you saying that many of those in your generation, you're 82, many of those maybe between 75 and 85, in Nigeria today, looking at the Nigerian situation,
yes,
have not earned, is it fair to say they have not earned that title of elder?
Well, those who have not portrayed a life of elderhood, even leadership, even the qualities that demand respect in the society. Those who have not done that have no reason to complain. But those of us
who have
tried to live a life of integrity,
a life of contentment. I remember you speaking to teachers the other day, and you kept emphasizing contentment.
That's right. That be content, be who you are, and be content with what you have. And those of us who have tried to live by that dogma, we feel a sense of, okay, even though we have a sense of satisfaction that we have lived this way, we are nonetheless saddened by the fact that others have led us astray.
On that note, we'll be bringing this segment to an end. I've been speaking to Mr. Greg Aiyemo, 82-year-old, former Administrative Secretary of Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, Administrative Secretary of Luke's Terra Leadership Foundation, and Catechist of the Luke's Terra Chaplaincy, about elderhood. And he says elderhood is a function, not of age, but of a series of attributes,
That's right.
characteristics, values.
That's right.
We shall have another segment in order to develop this more, especially what we need to do in Nigeria for a better country to emerge. Thank you very much
All right,
for coming to the studio.
Thank you.
Thank you, viewers.